In a time of great uncertainty, a young shepherd named David would rise to face an unimaginable challenge. This is a tale from a distant past, steeped in faith and courage, where heroes were born not from royal lineage or physical might, but from the strength of their spirit and the depth of their belief. In this story, our hero is not a mighty warrior, but a humble shepherd boy, David, the youngest of Jesse's sons. He was not destined for battlefields or thrones, but for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. A confrontation with a giant, not just in stature but in reputation, known far and wide as Goliath, a Philistine of great strength who struck fear into the hearts of men. But David's story is more than just a clash of mortal men. It's a testament to the power of faith and the courage that comes when we dare to believe. And so begins our tale of faith and courage. David, the youngest of Jesse's sons, found strength and solace in the fields, caring for his father's flock. A shepherd by trade, David's days were filled with the simple rhythms of rural life. The bleating of the sheep, the whispering of the wind, the warmth of the sun on his face. But it was more than just a job. It was a calling that required patience, vigilance, and a gentle hand. While the sheep grazed, David practiced with his sling, honing his aim and precision, a skill that would later serve him in ways he could not yet imagine. But it was not just his physical skills that he cultivated. David was a man of deep faith. He would often be found in quiet prayer, seeking guidance and strength from above. His faith was his anchor, his constant companion. Yet, a greater challenge awaited him beyond the fields. But across the valley, the Philistine army, led by the giant Goliath, threatened the people of Israel. A formidable force, the Philistines were known for their aggression and ruthlessness in battle. Their army was a sight to behold, a sea of iron and fire poised to engulf the land of Israel. At the helm stood Goliath, a man of immense stature and strength, a giant among men. His name alone instilled fear in the hearts of the bravest warriors. Each day, Goliath would issue a challenge to the Israelites, a call for a one-on-one combat to decide the fate of the two nations. A challenge that echoed unanswered across the valley, deepening the shadow of dread that loomed over Israel. In the face of this impending threat, a hero was needed. A hero who would rise above the fear, a champion who would stand up to Goliath and defend his people. King Saul, fearing for his kingdom, searched for a champion to face Goliath. The stakes were high. The giant Philistine was not only a formidable foe, but a symbol of the overwhelming force that threatened to overrun Saul's kingdom. Saul's heart was heavy with the weight of his responsibility. He was the king, the leader, the protector of his people, but who among them could stand against such a foe? Saul's eyes scanned his warriors, each one brave and strong, yet each one also dwarfed by Goliath's menacing stature. The king's heart sank. He felt the cold grip of despair. But sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. As the king's gaze fell upon his people, a young shepherd boy with nothing more than a sling and a heart full of faith stepped forward. And it was in this desperate search that a humble shepherd boy would step forward. David's journey from the fields to the battlefield would be an unexpected one. Leaving the pastoral tranquility of his homeland behind, David set forth, his heart filled with a mission. He was not summoned by a king, nor led by a general, but driven by a deep sense of duty to his people and an unwavering faith in God. His path was not paved with glory, but rather strewn with uncertainty and danger. Yet he walked it with courage, bearing in his hands not the weapons of a warrior, but provisions for his brothers on the front lines. This journey was not merely a physical transition from the peaceful fields to the tumultuous battlefield. It was a spiritual voyage that saw a humble shepherd boy evolving into a beacon of hope for his people. And so the shepherd boy found himself standing before a giant. Armed only with his faith and a sling, David faced the mighty Goliath. This was no ordinary encounter. Against the backdrop of a looming battle, a young shepherd stood before a seasoned warrior. David, small in stature but mighty in spirit, was not deterred by Goliath's towering presence or his thunderous taunts. Goliath, a giant of a man armed to the teeth, sneered at David's audacity. But David was not alone. He had his faith, his courage, and a simple shepherd's sling. David looked at Goliath not as an unbeatable foe, but as a challenge to be overcome. In the hush that fell over the battlefield, David reached into his bag, pulling out a single smooth stone. As he loaded his sling, the tension was almost palpable. With a swift, practiced motion, he released his weapon. With a single stone, the course of the battle was about to change. With unwavering faith, David's stone struck Goliath's forehead and the giant fell. It was a moment that echoed across the battlefield, a moment that would be etched in the annals of history. The mighty Goliath, the colossal adversary who had once towered over them all, now lay defeated on the ground. The force of David's faith had proven mightier than the giant's intimidating size and strength. David had faced his fear with nothing more than a sling and a stone, but his real weapon was his unshakable belief. His victory was a testament to the power of faith, a beacon of hope that illuminated the hearts of the Israelites. A shepherd boy had stood against a giant, not with a sword or a spear, but with courage and conviction. The battlefield was silent, save for the soft rustle of the wind, as if the world itself was holding its breath, acknowledging the magnitude of David's triumph. Against all odds, the shepherd boy had triumphed. The Philistine army, stunned by Goliath's defeat, retreated, and the Israelites celebrated their unlikely hero. The battlefield, once a place of fear and dread, was now a site of joy and relief. The giant, who once cast a long shadow of terror, lay fallen, and the shepherd boy held the victor's mantle. The victory was more than just a military triumph. It was a testament to the power of faith and the strength of the human spirit. It was a message that resonated across the land, that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to face it head-on. And David, the young shepherd from Bethlehem, embodied this truth. His victory was not just his own, but that of every Israelite. It was a beacon of hope, a tale of the underdog triumphing against all odds. And so they celebrated, their hearts filled with joy and their spirits soaring high. A hero had emerged, not from strength and power, but from faith and courage. David's victory over Goliath is a timeless story of faith and courage. A tale that resonates across centuries, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the strength of spirit, conviction and faith can lead to extraordinary outcomes. This story is not just about a young shepherd's triumph over a giant. It's about the triumph of the human spirit, the power of faith, and the courage it takes to stand against seemingly insurmountable challenges. David's victory over Goliath is a testament to the belief that with faith in one's abilities and trust in a higher power, even the most formidable obstacles can be overcome. David, the youngest of Jesse's sons, was not a warrior by training. He was a shepherd, a caretaker of flocks. But when he saw the threat that Goliath posed to his people, he did not hesitate. He stepped forward armed with nothing but a sling and his faith. His courage did not come from physical strength or prowess in battle, but from his unwavering faith in God and his own abilities. Goliath, on the other hand, represented the challenges we face in life, the intimidating, seemingly unbeatable obstacles that stand in our way. But as David showed us, it is not the size of the obstacle that matters, but the strength of our faith and our courage to face it. The story of David and Goliath is a tale that has been told and retold countless times throughout history, resonating with people of all ages from all walks of life. It is a story that reminds us that faith and courage can indeed move mountains, or in David's case, fell giants. So as we navigate through our own life's battles, let us remember David's story. Let us remember that it is not the size of our problems, but the size of our faith that determines our victory. Even the smallest stone, when propelled by faith, can fell the greatest giants.